What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Colors and I'm back with another video, and today's video is going to be all about my newborn must-have / essential. Now I honestly feel like my list of newborn must-have / essentials will be a little bit different from the ones I have seen, because I honestly wanted to create a realistic list of things that you absolutely should have. That includes small things and the big things. Most of them are things you probably are gonna get from your baby shower, but I wanted to let you know that these things are important. These are some things that when it was time to lay down at night and I was like, oh, I don't have this, I never even thought of that. So I just wanted to make sure to put everything in this list as possible. So if you are interested in hearing about my personal newborn must-have, just keep on watching. The first thing that I have on my list, which you may hear in the background, I don't know if you hear it, is actually a sound machine. Nala is actually sleeping right here on the couch. I'm in the dining room, and I wanted to be able to drown out my own sound, so I just kind of threw on the sound machine because she is taking a nap. This is one of the main reasons why I feel that you should have a sound machine. Personally, I think a sound machine is important to keep baby asleep longer. I thought always when I wanted to get baby a sound machine, it was because I wanted her to be able to fall asleep or know that it was time to go to sleep, and that's very true. The sound machine, at least for my baby, really does do that. But it does well in mostly helping me out as far as drowning the sounds that I may make when she's sleeping. So if I'm cooking, cleaning, making sound, or like for example, I am making this video right now and it's not really bother her as much as it would if the sound machine wasn't on. But if you are getting a sound machine, I would highly advise that you get a sound machine that does have a night light on it. I personally have the Hatch Baby Rest, and even though it's expensive, I would pay it 100 times again. I absolutely love my Hatch Baby Rest. If you are like me and you are that parent that's very scared of SIDS, it's important to have a night light too, so it's just convenient to have it all in one. With the Hatch Baby Rest, you can change the colors around, but I love that because I don't want to have to deal with picking up my phone and shining it on her face to see if she's breathing. And with the Hatch Baby Rest, I can kind of put it at a height somewhere close that the light can kind of shine over her, so when I do wake up in the middle of the night, I can just glance over, look at her, and kind of go back to sleep without fully waking myself up. Another thing that I feel like you should have, and that is, I really don't want to say, but it is the DockATot. I could not survive without having the DockATot. So one thing that I didn't realize was the DockATot is one of the few things that have been approved for newborns or infants to actually sleep in. The DockATot is expensive. It can run between, I've seen $250 and $300. Oh, actually the DockATot I have seen in TJ Maxx and it was like $100. But the reason why I personally feel like I needed it is because I am not comfortable with baby sleeping in the bed. I can be a very heavy sleeper and I'm very afraid of rolling over her. So I ended up putting the DockATot in her play yard, which kind of puts me into the realm of another thing, which is the pack and play. The pack and play is another thing that is important, and I feel like you need the two together, because personally I want to be at eye level with her without having her in my bed. So I actually put the DockATot inside of the play yard. Now you may be thinking, why in the world would you need the play yard and the DockATot and not just have the pack and play? Because that was originally what I was thinking. I was thinking that the DockATot was going to be more of a lounger and she's going to be napping in it, and the play yard is where she was going to be sleeping in. But what ended up happening, the very night that I brought her home, I laid her down in it and she started rolling. And now doing research, I realized that that is very common. So one thing that I like having the play yard to put the DockATot in versus just having like a halo basket is that they tend to grow out of the halo bassinet, and then you end up having to spend another $200 something on another sleeper. So let's go ahead and move on before this be a 50-minute video. The next thing that you obviously should have is the stroller. You need a stroller to be able to commute. Same with stroller is a car seat as well. I would say to honestly get like a travel system. I was gifted the Graco Clip Connect, but I got the Mode 3 as a gift. The Mode 3 stroller is a really good stroller in the sense of I love how quickly you can fold it up and how lightweight it is to put it in the car. You can just take out the bassinet, just not use the bassinet until it's necessary. The only thing I don't like is that the tires stick out kind of far when you are going in narrow places. I don't know how many times I actually ran into doorways because of the tires stick out a little wide. So speaking of carrying baby, I think it's very important to have a baby carrier. Now when people talk about baby carriers, I always start of baby carriers as one of those things that if they're fussy around the house, don't want to be alone, I'm putting on a baby carrier and be able to still live life while they're just enjoying sleep. But when they're in the car seat too long, they can get really hot. You can buy a car seat fan, which is another one that's off topic that I feel like you should probably invest in. When I know I'm gonna be out for long periods of time, I put her in the baby carrier. Some places are just not stroller car seat friendly at all. I had took my niece to a museum, and in a lot of places our stroller couldn't fit. And there ain't no way in the world we about to carry her in the car seat through that. So yeah, I think that is important. The next thing that you obviously need is diapers. Babies poop and pee, so you need to change them, and you should be changing them often. And the diapers I personally like are, it's so hard. I feel like I honestly haven't found the perfect diaper. If I could give it to one, I would honestly say maybe Pampers, but there's problems with each one that I wish that wasn't. So like with the Honest diapers, there are gorgeous diapers, but I personally haven't seen any type of indicator that they went to the bathroom without having to look inside the diaper. With Love's diapers, I really like Love's diapers, but when they pee in them, they inflate. They really can puff up, and that's kind of really annoying, especially if you have the baby on something form-fitting. I have seen situations where it starts to get slightly moist on the outside, but I do think that it is a really good diaper. The Huggies, I have plenty of Huggies. That is probably, that and the Pamper ones is the ones I probably like the most. The Snug and something, I don't know, I'll probably put it up. The next thing that I feel like you must have, but I didn't realize that you really should have, and that is baby blankets. Babies get cold, and your body temperature isn't theirs, and anywhere you take that baby, they should have a baby blanket that's soft but warm at the same time. This is one thing it didn't hit me at all, because when you watch these videos, they tell you don't put a blanket in here, don't put a blanket in there, and you like, at what point they're gonna get a blanket? And that's mainly for traveling purposes, or when you're feeding and stuff like that. But mainly when you're traveling and they're in the car seat, you need to have a baby blanket, maybe 3 or something like that, that you can rotate, make sure clean, maybe 3 or 4 in different textures. So I have one really thick one and one medium warm. Another thing that I think you should get is a couple of receiving blankets, but I don't think you need to get a lot of them, because you will, if you are having a hospital birth, you should be getting a lot of them. I probably took like 7. And I also got some package deals from Amazon. They came like 12 in a pack for like $15 or something like that. But the receiving blankets are multi-use. I use them for spit ups, for swaddling in the beginning, but like I said, I was using the hospital one, which is best, I think, for initial swaddling. Another thing that I feel like you need to have and that is a boppy pillow. I forgot to bring my boppy pillow during the labor and delivery process. I meant to bring it. I told my husband to bring it, but I guess he forgot it on the chair with the other stuff, and I absolutely wish I had it. It was very uncomfortable with the initial breastfeeding process and not being able to actually, you had to have all these pillows and specific angles and stuff like that. In life, I feel like you should have a boppy pillow. In certain situations, it can be inconvenient, but overall, you need it. It is a game changer to where I can sit comfortably, watch TV, do what I gotta do, and she nurse until I can't take it anymore. But speaking of boppy, another thing that I need is the boppy lounger. And now that I think about it, I actually have a lot of things by boppy. Going back to the baby carrier, the baby carrier I have is a boppy baby carrier, and I absolutely love that one. But going back to this, I have the boppy lounger, and I feel like you need this. And I didn't realize I needed it. I thought I wanted it for when I don't want her to constantly be laying down flat. So in some situations where she's laying down here, she's laying down there, and it's like you start to worry about their head flattening. She doesn't have that problem at all, but you want to be able to give them different positions to sleep in, especially when it comes to like sleep training. I want her to associate her docker top with sleep, and lounging around something like this, if you look at it, it's higher here and lower here. So in this case, she can sit up a little bit more comfortably and not be laying down flat all the time. So I know you should get a boppy cover. I need to get one. I should put that in my notes right now, because this, whatever it comes in, it don't comes with a lounger cover, so you can't properly wash it. So invest in the cover if you do decide to get this. So yeah. The next thing that you obviously need to get is wipes. So the wipes that I like personally is the Pampers, I think it's extra sensitive wipes. They're like super thick wipes. It's the ones, I got them from the hospital, and I love them. I love the thickness to where you don't have to use a lot of wipes. Like I use one, maybe two if she has a blowout. But one wipe takes me a long way. So if you are trying to figure out what wipes work, look into those. Oh, one thing that I heard mixed reviews about, and I wasn't sure that I was gonna like, but I already knew that I felt that I needed it, but watching some videos made me feel like I didn't, and that was the diaper pail. You need a diaper pail. Like, my house doesn't smell like pee and poop at all. My room doesn't smell like pee and poop. I personally got the Decor Pail Classic one. I was gonna get the Plus one, but the Plus wasn't much bigger than the Classic, so we went cheaper. I think it was like 23 bucks or whatever with the 20% off from Bed Bath & Beyond. It wasn't expensive at all, and I love it. And I love it because too of the bag situation. So if you buy the bags that goes along with the Classic version of the Decor, it's based off of what you put in there. So you kind of pull it out, tie it off, and rip it off, and it comes with like a bag cutter that's attached to it, and you get to basically create your own amounts that you fit in the bag. And I had bought 2 boxes, and each box has 2 packs, which is like 1,000 bags, I think it is. And they're not expensive at all. I think it was like $15 or something like that, but for the amount of bags, it's like. The next thing that I feel like you do need to have, and a lot of people say that you need this. I like being a little bit rebellious, and I don't like the idea of saying or agreeing with people in the sense of following the trend. But I feel like you do need this, but I wish there was something better than this, and that is the nose Frida. And the nose Frida is good, but I don't feel like it's amazing as people say it is, but I feel like maybe it's not out yet. Maybe it's harder to get a better suction. I don't know. It doesn't excite me having it, but it's as good as it's gonna get. By the way, it is not as gross as you may think it is. And I am a person who was like, no, I'm not down for the nose feeder like that. I was kind of disgusted by it. But when your baby is struggling breathing and you hear the you're going to almost have a panic attack, and you're not going to feel comfortable going to sleep at night knowing that they're that congested. On top of that, one thing I didn't know was that babies can't breathe out their mouth until roughly about 4 to 6 months. So me knowing this, my baby can't breathe out her mouth. She's congested to where she can't breathe out her nose. And I'm supposed to sleep good for that. So I see the nose feeder. The nose feeder is my best friend. I don't care if it go in my mouth. As long as my baby breathing. Like, that's the only thing I care about. So trust me, your mind will change when your baby's in that situation. But speaking of nose feeder, one thing I feel like you should have along, if your baby is stuffy as mine, is the Boogie Mist. This one is good for all ages, the white bottle. I always see the green bottle, but I think the green bottle is not as good until they're like 3 months, but this one is any age. It's basically saline, but the way that it sprays, hold on, people are like, why is she wasting this? But it's not that deep. It does kind of like break up the boogers that's in their nose. So what I would do is kind of lean her head back in. You can also irrigate the boogers with this. So you can kind of lean the head back and like flush it in there, and if you put up their nose, it will go, it's supposed to go out the other side, and it does, but I think they kind of taste it too, and it goes down their mouth a little bit. So if you want to irrigate it, I would give the babies a break. So I'll do it for a second, see it come out, and give her a break to adjust and breathe. And then once she adjusts again, I would do it again. And then I would use the nose feeder to suck it down once I feel like it's sat there long enough, if that makes sense. Another thing that I feel like you should get is a swaddle. And I know that most people use just like a blanket to swaddle their babies in, and that's cool. But what I find is some days I'm good at swaddling and some days I'm not, especially in the beginning. Like in the beginning, I don't know how I got it, but I got it so good, whatever. And then it was like I started to fall off and then forgot how to do it. I don't know, but I would say get some different types of swaddle. The one that is working for me at the moment is, I don't know what this is called. If I can find out, I will put it up. But I know it is by Swaddle Me. This blanket right here. So I know it probably looks funny, and I could probably put a picture up of what it looks like closed. But basically, the baby's feet go on this bottom part right here, and you kind of wrap them around and drop them in there, and it just keeps their hand down. This one, I love it. It is one of the things that she cannot break out of. I mean, there wasn't a bunch of things that she was breaking out of, to be honest, but one thing I for sure don't have to worry about, riding up on their face. Now, sometimes I do have to fold the arm thing down on her neck, so it's gonna be like this over her shoulders. Swaddles are important for them to sleep longer through the day and at night. And whenever they're having hard to go to sleep and stuff like that, this helps them a lot. Another thing that I didn't realize that was going to be important, but it is important, but I think this is only geared towards a breastfeeding mom, and that is a nursing cover. I don't think you honestly need a fancy nursing cover. I honestly got the one from Parents Choice from Walmart. Someone gifted that one to me, and that one works 100% fine. I have been in a situation where I nursed in Walmart, IKEA. You know, personally, I think you should get like a solid color, like a black, because the one that I'm using right now is kind of like draws a lot of attention to it, and I personally don't like a lot of attention on me, contrary to popular belief. But I think you should have a nursing cover. What if your parents or your dad is around? You know what I'm saying? Like, everything is not necessarily, in my opinion, about whether you should be covered up or whatever, but I feel like in certain situations, like, I don't want my dad seeing my titties. I don't feel like my father-in-law should be seeing my breasts, but what if I run out of milk? you know, I need to breastfeed, you know. So I think that to keep situations not weird, it's just easy to have one. But y'all do you, but I think you should have one. Another thing that is important, speaking of breastfeeding, is obviously a breast pump. But the one that have worked the best for me was the Mandela, and specifically had the Pump and Style Advance, I think, one. And yeah, I really like that one. There's a couple things I don't like like about it, to be specific. Is one, the little piece, and I probably should show you, hold on, but the little piece on here, I feel like they could have done better. And I'm really referring to sorry, that's my nipple cream. You probably should have that too as well, but this is not about that. But if you're looking at this part right here, this little piece that holds on here, this allows you to be able to close one side of where the tubing come out that connects to the bottle. Say if I want to pump one side, I would connect this, I hope y'all can see, but I'll connect this to one side and close the other side with that little piece. Well, when you're pumping, and if you're a person like me who needs a really strong suction, this doesn't hold all the air in to give it enough strength to pump as strong as I generally need it, because I usually could turn up this dial all the way up. So far, this is one that maybe get out the most milk, and this works really well. Another thing that I don't care for about this is that it's loud. So I wish it was a lot quieter. I hear the Spectra is a lot quieter, but right now this is what I have, so this is what I can tell you about. So that is a little mini review about that. But yeah, you need a good breast pump if you are breastfeeding. But go along with breast pump, another thing I feel like you need is obviously breast milk storage bags. Now honestly, the Lentino aren't my favorite. I really prefer the Nuke bags way more than this bag. First of all, this one is, the Lentino one is way bigger, which you think is a pro. I ain't gonna say way bigger, but it seems a little bigger. But the durability of the Nuke ones, it just feels so, like, this feels like so thin compared to this one. I don't know what it is, but yeah. Also, I don't know if I 100% trust the amount in this one versus what I trust in this one. Because I feel like when I put the same amount in this one to this one seems way less than what I have in here. So freezer bags are important, they're essential, you need them. Another thing that I feel like is important, which this may be subjective to someone else. I was a part of a team who didn't want to have this and didn't think I would give it to my baby, but I absolutely need this, and this is a pacifier. Now this is the only one that my baby likes, and I need this because I realized she started to like suck on her hand when she was hungry, or she just was playing around and started to find her thumb, and I was like, no ma'am, I'd rather try to get rid of this bad habit than the bad habit of her sucking her thumb. But I feel like even if you don't want your baby to have a pacifier, keep this on hand just in case because when they start fussing around and start sucking on their hand, and they may be doing it at the middle of the night when you don't even realize they're doing it, and they already got used to it, you probably wish you had that, because that's what happened to me. So just saying. Another thing that you absolutely should have, and you already know this, and that is baby bottles. Now I feel like you need to have different types of baby bottles. Don't follow the trend, but have at least 1 or 2 of each type of ones that you see. I seen that everyone, when I was looking for bottles, everyone wanted the Dr. Brown brand one, and I have plenty of them because I got them from Target. I absolutely do not use them. Right now I don't, because the bottles are too big. So the only bottles that I really liked was the Mandela bottles. Now when I go on trips or when I'm leaving my house, I would give my baby that bottle, but when I'm in the house, I give my baby this bottle. These are actually the freezer Mandela bottles, But what I like about this is I feel like this helps me keep control over what she eats more. Now, I feel like my baby recognizes the amount that's in the bottle, and that sounds totally weird, but hear me out. I feel like when I was giving her feedings with this regular Mandela bottle size, and I felt like because she still seen milk in that, she would constantly eat, just because I feel like she sees what's in there. But when I started giving her these ones again, I felt like she was satisfied. So that's a tip, like if you want to try this out, give them 2 ounces or whatever, and then burp in between. But yeah, this helps prevent like a lot of hiccups and gas buildup, so just saying. Another thing which you may not think about, but you really do need correlating with the baby bottle, is a baby bottle cleaner. I have this one. I think this one was gifted to me, but I absolutely need this one because it comes with a nipple cleaner. So it's attached to the bottom of it. I mean, when you're going through so many bottles, especially with breastfeeding, and with me, I'm breastfeeding and formula feeding, and I go through a lot of bottles all the time. So with that, I have to clean bottles, and you have to have a brush. So the worst case scenario is that you don't have a lot of bottles and you need to clean it. How are you going to properly clean it? You need a brush. So the next thing you gotta have is a pump bra. Sorry, this is not in any particular order, but you absolutely do need to have a pump bra. I personally made shift my pump bra. If you're sitting up there pumping for 20-30 minutes, you're not gonna want to sit there not doing nothing and just holding on to 2 things. You want to rest your arms, you want to lean forward, you ain't got time for life. So it's very convenient if you are a breastfeeding mom to have some type of pump bra so that you can be hands-free on your phone or watching TV or whatever. Speaking of pumping, which I forgot to say alongside the Mandela big breast pump that I got, the other thing I feel like you should have as a breastfeeding mom, and that is a manual breast pump. This attaches to the regular Mandela bottles or whatever. You can use this one, you can use or the other one, but I feel like you should have a manual pump that you should keep inside of your actual breast pump bag, because I don't know how many times I left out of town and forgot a tube, forgot like the flange, I forgot like the power cord one time, and it's like, dang, I keep going to the store and buying something to relieve me. And if I were to keep a manual pump on me, I don't have to worry about that until I get back home. And the last thing that I feel like you should have on hand is some type of gas medication and hiccup medication. Just in case your baby is in this situation, I think it's good to have something on hand so you don't have to go to the store and get medication, so that if the situation arises that you have some way to kind of battle those things. So thank God we are finally at the end of our list, child. I wanted to tell you guys what I feel like you really need and the reasons of my thought process of why I felt like I needed them or should have them. I really do appreciate you guys watching and listening to my list. And if you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, join the fam, and I will definitely see you guys in the next one. All right, bye.
Gave a couple racks to your mama. Just say free black youngster. Lady Woods in the morning. R.I.P. your mama.